In the psychological or in literary terms, it's called the hero's journey. It's a rite of passage for all alchemists. And all multidimensional souls who are here having a human experience are given the exact same moments of alchemy, of transmutation in their life, the exact same moments. So they're given the exact same moment of alchemy. It's not one alchemist, one potential alchemist, one human being. All human beings are potential alchemists. So one potential alchemist is not favored over another. They're all given the exact same moments. And the hero's journey begins off with a sense of ease first. I'm going to take you through the hero's journey and see which point, because you're all of us are potential alchemists, and we'll be able to relate to which point of the hero's journey we're on. And I may not be able to identify each point because I'm pulling it in right now visually. But you'll be able to relate to it, inshallah. So the first, mostly it begins off with a sense of ease, sense of support, sense of a community, sense of belonging. Later on, we begin to find out that this was an illusion. But anyway, it begins with the potential alchemist feeling somewhat safe. That's the usual journey, somewhat safe, somewhat supported, somewhat the fact that they are taken care of, somewhat. And the second point of the potential alchemist journey is something within their ease, something within the sense of safety is disrupted. There is a spanner that's thrown in to distort it. And they become at dis-ease. That dis-ease may look like psychological, mental, emotional, physical, cultural, societal, of the country, of the world. They come to be at dis-ease. As a result of that dis-ease, they find themselves to be isolated and separated from their usual support systems, families, friends, communities, colleagues, whatever it looks like. They find themselves to be isolated. This place of isolation is the hermit's cave, is the Ghare Hira of all potential alchemists. Who will you now be? What will you now do in this place of isolation? When all the familiar support systems have been taken away from you, now who will you be? Now what will you remember? Because this place of alchemy, this is the place of alchemy, where they've been brought to, from an outsider's perspective, looks like a bad place. From the inside of ourselves also, it looks like a bad place. I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. I feel like I'm not seen. I don't have any friends. I don't feel like coming out of the house. I want to quit my job. I want to move away to a distant place. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like meeting anybody. I don't like anyone. People that I've loved, I don't find the love in my heart for them anymore. I just don't want to be here, but I don't have the strength to move away from here. It feels like a really bad place, but this is the place of the mud. This is the mud space. When we're here, this is the mud place. And it is this moment of alchemy which asks us to develop a third perspective beyond the good and bad. This enables us. It doesn't just ask us. This place, if this place, say when we go to a spa, and we go there because we are carrying tension on our shoulders, and we select a treatment which is custom designed to take away, to release the burden from your shoulders. Combination of essential oils, a pressure point massage, hot stone massage, steaming, beautiful music, like the whole place is now created for you to release your burden, right? And it feels like a good place because we have signed up for it in our conscious awareness. And therefore we say, yes, this is a good place where I can release the burden. The thing is, the hermit's cave, Ghare Hira, the cave of isolation, is exactly that good place with custom ingredients designed for you. You are entering into a spa of the soul. But because we feel that we've not chosen it into in our conscious awareness, and it doesn't have the beautiful incense and the essential oil aroma and the hot stones yet, it feels like it cannot be a spa for the soul. But the spa of the soul ingredients are very different from the spa of the body ingredients, because what the body needs is something very, very different from what the soul needs. The body needs to be at rest. The soul needs to build resilience so that it can be at rest no matter what. The body needs to be at rest now because the body is linked to time and space. The soul is not linked to time and space. So the soul's singular journey is to develop the resilience muscles so that it can be at rest at all times. And so this soul spa is looking right now, as at Hermit's Cave, very different from the body spa. But it is custom designed with the same ingredients, custom designed to help you activate that third perspective beyond the good and bad. And the third perspective is the soul perspective. The third perspective is what in the spiritual communities is called the observer. The third perspective is the observer, who is not the observer. The simplest definition of the observer is the one who does not have a point of view. The observer does not have a point of view, not hardship versus ease ship. So the observer sees the ship. Now, the observer, the third point of view, and this observer is actually the one that does alchemy. Our human selves can't do alchemy. We need this observer. We need this third eye. We need this third eye to be able to look within innama al ussree yusra, to be able to play with innama al ussree yusra. The third eye looks at the metals in front of it and it says, what shall we create with it today? The observer also has the reason why that observer is enabled to do that and to play with all kinds of metals is why? Because the observer has a simple, straight knowing, which is a divine knowing, which is not acquired, it is given, which is a deep awareness of who its creator is. And the deep awareness of the creator tells the observer that my creator is Subhan. And he's super customized Subhan. So not only is my creator Subhan the one who is incapable of doing any kind of anything bad, incapable. Not only that, he also has, out of his karam for me, his Subhaniyat on me is, he's custom Subhan for me. So his incapable of doing anything bad is a blanket presence for the universe, all dimensional creatures. But when it comes to Madiha, he will Madiha customize all the elements that Madiha would like to play with. He will Madiha customize all the elements that Madiha would like to play with, as long as Madiha begins to see those elements from the observer's point of view and does not look at good elements and bad elements. Madiha says elements, and Madiha can only say elements as the observer. When Madiha knows, Madiha's observer knows who her creator is. He will not give me elements that Madiha's hands are incapable of fashioning beautiful things from. As Allah is my witness, He will not give it. He will not give. He will not give any soul a burden beyond what they can bear. He will not give me the elements which have not been custom designed for Madiha's hands. The size of her hands, of course, I'm being literal right now, but the size of her hands, the dexterity of her fingers, her fine motor skills, her likes and dislikes. If those metals if Madiha likes to fashion flower vases, she will not be given metals which cannot fashion flower vases, which are for urns perhaps, or benches, or like other kinds of expressions. Those metals, it's my DIY toolkit. Custom made, like forget Lego. This is like my own custom created DIY toolkit that Allah Ta'ala has given to me. And my observer knows it. It doesn't recognize it. It doesn't remember it. It knows it. It knows it. Because in this moment, how the observer who is asked not to have a point of view on that ship, in this moment, what this observer is being asked to do is look back at all the moments which looked like a hardship, and look how they turned out for you. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Wawazana inka wizrak. Did I not expand your chest for you? In that moment also, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being reminded, if this being an observer, holding your frequency of an observer is feeling difficult because this particular ship really does look hard. My body is telling me, my life is telling me, my senses are telling me, every faculty is telling me, it smells hard, it looks hard, it feels hard, it is hard. My senses are telling me it is hard. But in this moment, and it's not, it's the rite of passage. We are human beings. So in moments which feel like your senses are telling you they are hard, they feel hard, you're crumbling and you're crying and you don't have the strength in your body. Don't tell me I have strength in my body. I know my body. I don't have that strength. I don't have it. In this moment, Allah Ta'ala asks this observer, okay, this ship looks hard. Hold, pause, freeze frame, reverse, look back. Look back at all the other ships, or one other ship in your life, just one. Just look back on one other ship in your life, which had felt really hard. And you're standing here right now. That means you're not on that ship. And you're standing here right now, connected to Allah. You're standing here right now, struggling, but still connected to Allah. You're standing here right now, not still wanting to give up. That means you received something from that hardship. Turn back. Did I not expand your chest for you? Allah Ta'ala reminds him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alam nashrah laka sadrak wa wazana inka wizrak allazi ankaza zahrak wa rafa'na laka zikrak. Did I not remove the burden, ease the burden from your shoulder? Allah Ta'ala reminds him. This is, remember, it comes after Surah Doha. So he's asked to look back on one moment in his life. And Surah Doha had come when he had not received, remember, he had not received the wahi. The tingling wahi is what? Subhan Allah. Like everything in our beautiful, what do I got? It's not a religion. Everything in this beautiful song that is Islam, Subhan Allah, reminds us that Allah is always speaking to a high vibrational, forget high, low, a vibrational soul. Allah is always speaking to our Quran was received as a vibration in his heart. In his heart, subhanallah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, but it's received in his heart as tingling, ting, 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 ting. Felt it and spoke it, felt it first. And Surah Doha had come when he was not feeling that tingling in his heart, when he was not feeling the vibration of that nur, which is Quran. He was not feeling it. Wadoha wa layla iza saja. I have not abandoned you. By the morning light, I have not abandoned you. So Allah Ta'ala says, look back onto that moment. Did I not expand your chest for you? Did I not remove the burden or ease the burden from your shoulder? Bring back this wisdom to this moment. You are here. You are breathing. You have, if you don't have 4 out of your 5 faculties, you have still 1 faculty in this moment. Tune in, lean in, lean in, lean into that faculty. Lean into that faculty. And now look at your ship. And now look at your ship. And when that observer looks at the ship that they in that moment have, these potential alchemists are now training to be alchemists because you've developed the observer eye. And you've been reminded to always look back when you're faltering in being the observer. Always look back. If I can go through that, I can go through this. Although this still looks bigger than that. But there is no big or small in the world of alchemy anyway. There is no good or bad in the world of alchemy anyway. It just is. It just is. It is what it is. And so when we begin to look at a ship exactly the way it is, it's the simplest form of learning surrender in the first moment. The simplest, the alchemist does not wrestle, does not fight, does not change anything in step one. They simply connected deeply to Allah, knowing how Subhan and custom Subhan their Rabb is. They look at the ship that they have in that moment, the ship that they're in charge of in that moment. There is nothing else they're being asked to do, and there's nothing to fight for. You're just simply looking at something. You're just simply looking at your ship. You don't want to change it, and you may not like it. When you're looking at it at this moment, we're not asked to exercise any compassion. And at this moment is only inna mal ussree yusra, a simple reminder, a simple reminder. There is nothing beneficial that lies for me outside this ship right now. Inna mal ussree yusra, in the same ship is manifold ease for me. In the same ship is beautiful benefit for me. So then it is not a hardship, it's a beneficial ship, you see. कहीं और कुछ green pastures नहीं रखे हैं. There is nothing for you, no matter what it looks like. You look at another person, their home, their life, their relationship, their travels, their struggles, and you say they still have it easy. Still not your ship. And I swear to God, they do not have it easy because they're not, you are not them. You don't know their journey. So the first instinct of this observer looking at this ship is, it is what it is. The second instinct is, it is what it is. And this, what is the most beneficial for me in this moment. My benefit does not lie in the waves. My benefit does not lie jumping over the ship and swimming to the shore. My benefit in this moment does not lie calling for help or calling the helpline or sending out the flares towards the sky. There is nothing in this moment, in this first instance. It is what it is, and this is where my benefit is. This is where my benefit is. Exactly what it looks like. This kude ka dher that you're looking at is exactly where my benefit is. Surrender. Absolute surrender. So alchemy, an alchemist does not transmute anything in the first point. They do not transmute. Because transmutation means, look at the nature of transmutation. It means I don't like something, I want something else. I want this to be better. Even if it's not from a place of like versus dislike, I'm okay, I want to be better. This movement that you're looking for from where you are, this transmutation in the first instance, what you're looking from where you are, is an effort. It is a flow against the current. And it will take a lot from you, or it will make your journey a lot harder. So we're not transmuting anything. We're simply looking at this kude ka dher that we have. It is what it is. Second, this kude ka dher, and I may be the most idiotic person in the universe and the most delusioned, and that's what everybody else keeps telling me, but this kude ka dher, in this kude ka dher is my benefit. What? Can you be more deluded? Inna mahal ussree yusra. Even when your mind is telling you you are deluded, your Rabb is telling you, your creator who fashioned you with his hands, fashioned the mold of you, Ahsanul Taqweem, and who breathed his love into you, poured it down, poured out a part of his beautiful soul, his beautiful noor into you. And then he brought that noor up and made here, right between your two eyes. He positioned his noor here. He is telling you, yes, in this kude ka dher. So an alchemist learns to listen to the voice of their mind, which is saying, are you deluded? They try even not to change that. Definitely am deluded. And that's the principle of and, not but. And with this feeling that I am deluded, that I'm feeling that this benefit lies in my kure ka dher, and with it, I will go back to what I know of my Rabb. This reverting, Subhan, this reverting back to your haq, to the truth that you know, that your Allah Ta'ala has gifted you, created is gifted, reverting back to your haq. This reverting in this moment strengthens your soul resilience. Strengthens your soul resilience. It's like even when the student is giving the test, that student still has the option to ask the teacher to double check the answer that they've written, which does not look, sometimes you write a word in English. If English is not your first language, you write a word in English and you say that just looks off, although it's a correct spelling. But this word just looks off visually. So you ask somebody of authority, somebody that you trust, does this spelling look right to you? And they'd say yes. In that moment, that's what you're being asked to do. Although what you're seeing does not look right to you, although you know it is right, subhanallah, check back, revert back with your Allah. Hey, I know I'm feeling deluded, and with it, remind me what you've told me. Allah Ta'ala says, yeah, I'll remind you. I've told you that I am Subhan, and then I've custom created this one for you. And within it, innamal usri yusra, within this lies your benefit. And not just an equal benefit, but a profoundly, exponentially, like multifold benefit is what I'm telling you. And I'm like, got it. Thank you for that reminder. So this is the observer moment in this where you have completely surrendered to it is what it is. Now, feel into the place that you're in right now. You're not even trying to take the next step. And a lot of our effort is spent trying to take the next step away and out of this moment that we're in. Hamari aadhi se zyada pauni zindagi, like more than 75% of our zindagi goes in trying to take a step out of whichever situation that we're in. And then funnily enough, and it is amusing, funnily enough, and I'm only looking at my own life and nobody else's life, but funnily enough, what it looks like is you always, in every moment, 75% of you is always trying to take the next step out of that moment. What? Moments that you chose and moments you did not choose. 75% of you is always trying to get out of that moment. What's next? What's next? You're not fully here. But in this moment, where you're fully surrendered, you're all here. And you're not taking the next step. And then there's nobody else coming in from outside. You're in the middle of the ocean. Nobody's going to be knocking on your door, giving you a way of help, because your soul is being taught to remember its own magnificence. And your soul is being taught to remember that the teachers that you're looking for, the guides that you're looking for, the alchemists that you're looking for, the healers that you're looking for, who will do this for you, do not exist. And because they exist for their own selves, you exist as your alchemist, you exist as your healer, you exist as your teacher, you exist as your guide, and then fellow people who are perhaps walking a couple of steps ahead from you for a little while, only in that moment, they show up to show you or to speak to you of, hey, what lies ahead, a couple of steps ahead, and you become more inspired to continue your journey. But that's it. They cannot do anything for you because you have been made fully self-sufficient, You are your own alchemist. So nobody's coming in for you. And now you sit pretty, looking at the metals in front of you. And because it's the hermit's cave, it's Ghar Hira, you'll have a lot of time. Once you stop struggling to get out of that Hira, Ghar Hira, you'll have a lot of time to get to know every piece of the gandh in front of you. You will get to know it. And you will begin to make friends with it. And how you will begin to make friend with every piece of your gandh in your life is by recognizing the truth of that particular gandh. Now, whether that gandh is a person in your life, or an event, or a series of events, or a specific household that you've been born into, whatever that gandh looks like for you. And when I say gandh, I still am talking from the eyes of the human being. For an alchemist, it's just another material. But because the alchemists are sat down now and one part of the alchemy is done, now they can be back to human being and they can look at gandh as gandh and they say, this is gandh, this is gandh, this is. But the more time you spend with the specific gandh, you will realize that that particular piece of garbage that pulls you in disgust, that holds you in disgust, and that makes your skin crawl and brings out so much anger and rage in you, and so much helplessness in you, and so much judgment in you that you want to kill them and throttle them or yourself. You begin to sit down with them and say, okay, अब ये कमरा है, मैं भी यहीं पे हूँ और आप भी यहीं पे हो, whatever that piece of garbage is. Now what? And if that gun looks like a rotten kele ka chilka right now, which is what mine does, a rotten kele ka chilka right now, as you begin to hold that in your gaze from a pure sense of trying to understand, ke matlab, why are you even here? It can still be a point of view of disgust. Why are you even here? The more consistent you hold that ganda, rotten kele ka chilka in your vision, the chilka itself begins to soften. And what that means is there is some softness that begins to emerge from that. Not in your awareness, perhaps. So if that ganda kele ka chilka is a person, for example, in your life, so it's not like that person will begin to soften. That's not what I mean. What it means is you will begin to see the softness of that. Now, what that softness looks like is understanding. This is not love. This is not the energy of like divine love right now. This is just pure understanding. क्योंकि अब आपके पास टाइम है और आपने देखना है उस केले के छिलके को, तो अब आप उसको जो बहुत गौर से देखना शुरू करते हो, बहुत गौर से, और with your undivided attention and wasting no part of your energy trying to leave the room, you begin to understand, you begin to see the specific softness of that. By softness, I mean the specific elements of that rotten kele ka chilka that you'd not seen before from a place of understanding. अगर उसके अंदर एक जगह पे जहर भरा हुआ है, somehow you begin to receive the wisdom कि वो जहर दिखता कैसा है, वो कहाँ से आया, वो जहर देने वाले कौन से हैं, वो जहर रहता कहाँ है उसके जिस्म के अंदर, वो जहर का रंग क्या है, उस जहर का टेस्ट क्या है. Each poison is each kind of element in a body tastes different as well. So you begin to understand the particular gandh. You begin to see the particular gandh. And when you begin to see the particular gandh, you will always inevitably begin to, and this is my promise to you, you will always inevitably begin to recognize some part of that gandh within you. That's how this gandh is super customized for you. Do you see it? It's not somebody else's kele ka chilka, my friends. This is your kele ka chilka. This is my kele ka chilka. It's within me. It may not be in the same 5-liter quantity that it is in that person. Now, it actually may be 15-liter in you, or it may be 0.5-liter in you. But it is there. This I can promise you 100%, because this is a customized garbage space for you right now, for Madiha only and for nobody else. So whatever gandh that you're seeing in someone else, that's step 3 of alchemy. Whatever gandh, whatever dis-ease, whatever bad thing that you're seeing within your own life or in someone else, that is within you as well. Whoever you have chosen to be the bad guy in your life, or the bad circumstance, or the bad disease in your life, is in you as well. I was reading this beautiful thing about cancer and this because, of course, it is the frequency of cancer is a continuously, the vibration of cancer is a continuously hold resentment, deep burning, low-lying resentment, a flame that has burned for so long and so continuously and so consistently of anger and resentment that it's turned into this green thing and this bile thing, this liquid thing. Of course, it's not liquid, but this is the way I look at it. It's turned into that. And because your body is your friend and because your body is designed to keep you alive, what the body does for you, Subhan Allah, which is what we call cancer. But what your body does for you is it takes up all of that bile and it concentrates it in one space, and we call it tumor. So that the rest of your body can continue to go on living. So in the best that the body can do for you, it has done that. And we call it a tumor. In the same instance, when there is something outside in another person that you're not liking, or something in your own life that you are just tired of, whether it's your own body, your body in dis-ease, or your life circumstance, or a certain place of lack that you're in, or a person who's contributing to it. There is that thing, that place, that circumstance is holding a vibration that is within you as well. It is a familiar vibration. The reason why you are here in this garbage field is because that garbage field, something in this garbage field or all of this garbage field in this moment represents a similar vibration, is echoing out a similar vibration within you. That is the hardest thing to accept for an alchemist. Because mostly bad things are very unfair. That's what they feel like, and they look unfair. But when you sit with that bad thing, you just sit with it, and you struggle not to change it, you struggle not to leave the room, you begin to receive what we call, as alchemists call, the wisdom of that bad thing. And the wisdom of that bad thing always has one stark mirror and very clear compass, which you are pointing at it, it points back to you. Yeah, this is the bad thing movement. You're pointing your finger at it, it's pointing it back to you. You see the infinite flow here, subhanallah? You're carrying a resonance of it. It could be the most unconscious, at the most unconscious level, because maybe more often than not, it's either generational trauma, cultural trauma, religious trauma, which you are now manifesting small parts of as the garbage in your life. Or if it looks like, if it's big garbage, then all of you are here. But here's the thing. Once you begin to get familiar with that garbage, you're pointing the finger at it, it's pointing it back towards you, you begin to look back inside. Then you take your eye away from that garbage. Abhi tak inna ma'al ussree hai, yusra wala moment nahi aaya. So we are only in inna ma'al ussree. And that's true for all great Hollywood movies as well. All great life stories, everything that excites the soul. It is the preparation, the preparation, the preparation, the preparation, the preparation, the preparation, and one point of redemption. Subhanallah. And the excitement and the joy and the learning and the growth is all in the inna ma'al ussree abhi tak. Yusra mein nahi hai wo abhi filhal. Yusra aayega, inevitably promised है. But अभी inna ma'al ussree में उन्होंने, आपने उसको point किया, उसने आपको point किया, अब आपकी नजर उससे हट के वापस, अभी ये alchemy हो रही है. This is what alchemy is. You have not tried to change that kele ka chilka into a strawberry or into a healthy ripe like banana that you can have a milkshake from. None of this is happening. You've surrendered to that kele ka chilka. I don't know why kele ka chilka is so like, anyway. Surrender to that kele ka chilka. And now you're looking for the remnants of it within yourself. Now you've taken your eye away from it. Now you've begun to look within yourself. And in this moment, yusra part is now beginning to unfold because subhanallah, the eyes which judged and called that kele ka chilka bad, when they looked at that bad kele ka chilka for a long time, as they begin to recognize that there's a part of that bad thing within themselves as well, the hard eyes which were looking at that garbage already beginning to turn soft as they turn their gaze towards themselves. And now the eyes which will look within yourself will not be hard eyes, subhanAllah, will be soft eyes. And that's where the observer begins to learn compassion towards their own self. It's very hard to extend compassion to another human being or to an event or to a circumstance unless we don't believe and unless we don't know that a part of that vibration we are holding as well within ourselves. So उनको प्यार से देखना मुश्किल हो सकता है, पर जब हम लोग आप लोग वापस अपनी नजर अपने अंदर लेकर आते हैं तो वो मुश्किल नहीं, वो थोड़ा आसान होना शुरू होता है. So now it's with a softer gaze that we begin to look within ourselves. And now we begin to go within and see where is the resonance of that banana, that rotten banana peel, where is the resonance of it within me? And here I find it in this moment on the right side of my heart. Disgust of dirty things or bad things, disgust. And as I begin, because those eyes, I already recognizing that, and they're softer eyes. I now, as I turn my back, or as I turn my eyes towards the sliver of that peel within me, I now begin to look at where that disgust comes from, the origin of that disgust. And now the process of alchemy has begun because I have become the seeker. I simply want to find out. I'm not judging the disgust in this moment. A, I've taken my eyes away from the garbage outside. I brought it back inside. B, the moment I brought my eyes back inside, I'm not judging it anymore. I am simply seeking the origin of it, the truth of it, and the depth of it and where it comes from. And this seeking will lead me to my childhood. It may lead me to my mother's childhood, to my grandparents' childhood, and the culture and the circumstances. It may lead me to places where I may not be ready to go, but my mind is telling me that I'm not ready to go, but I am, and therefore I seek. And it is this self-examination. All of it always comes back to tazkiyah nafs. It is this self-examination when it is never about another soul, but what in me is this soul, is this event, is this circumstance representing? What in me is it echoing or mirroring? So when I begin to, because उस image को, उस आवाज को मैं compassion से नहीं देख सकती हूँ, but अपने आप को मैं देखने में अब मुझे आदत हो रही है. And so I can begin to self-examine and go deep to find the origin of the disgust. And as I find the origin of that disgust, it inevitably will come to a point where you were disgusting and you were judged as being disgusting. And for me, it's a very little physical thing. Just I've seen that in my own self. मुझे साफ सुथरे लोग अच्छे लगते. I'm not able to look at a bacha, even innocent bacha, who is begging on the roads, who's looking dirty. I'm not able to extend that compassion to them, which means that there was a time in my life or in my grandparents' and generation life that I was that bacha. And I internalized the disgust so much. It's an ancestral disgust as well. Because हम सब में OCD of cleanliness from my father's side. You need our clothes to be this way, and I see the resonance, see the sparks. I was once myself, generationally, from my ancestors, I was once that bacha, and I internalized that disgust. And now that I am not that bacha, but I'm still that bacha. Externally, I'm looking at that bacha with disgust. So is it that bacha that disgusts me, or is it a part of me within myself that disgusts me? And now I begin to remember how from beyond the literal aspect of dirtiness, when my soul began to get dirty as I was growing up, how my parents held me in disgust, how I internalized that and thought that that's how my creator was also looking at me, in disgust, in rejection, not worthy. How I felt discarded, how I felt like a banana peel, rotten on the floor. You see how it comes full circle? Subhanallah. And in this moment is yusra, where I received the wisdom of the disgust that I was carrying from an outside somebody. I begin to receive that wisdom. Oh, it is within me. Then what do I begin to do with that wisdom? I become the parent who will not discard that bacha anymore. Because now there is no outsider. Now it is me and me. I can extend to that disgusting child, teenager, young adult within me the same compassion that I needed from my parents. And here yusra has begun, because subhanallah, the ease which I will now begin to receive from the point that I became the observer, from the point where I surrendered to that moment, from the point where I looked at the garbage in my life, from the point that I used that sight to turn it back within me, became the seeker, found the origin, and now all of it is me, 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 me. There is no fourth, fifth person. All of this enabled by my Rabb. For all of us, these are the soul doctors. I'm right now in this moment becoming a soul doctor for my own self. This is a healer. This is in this moment, because no matter what kind of eyes of compassion that I look at you with, and the inner child of you with, it still is not enough, because your inner child is still waiting for you to look at them with those eyes of compassion. I cannot heal. Nobody else can heal another person. It is always you and you and you and you. It's always your story. And in this yusra moment where I'm beginning to now look at that child, and I'm with the keyture of them, and with the melapan of them, and with the ulje of bal of them, I say, okay, you can come sit on my gold. मुझे ज़्यादा उनके बारे से प्यार नहीं हो रहा, इतना intense or hugely transformative नहीं होता moment of alchemy, asleep for me. I'm generally like a hard person. It takes me a bit of time to soften. But है, और वहां से अब yusra moment शुरू हो गया. अब यहाँ से in this yusra moment, I've come back onto my ship. And because in this moment where I've come back into my ship, my eyes are softer. My energy, my whole vibration is softer. Feel it? I'm just coming back from a beautiful inward travel. I have just received wisdom from my own self. I have a softer frequency, a softer vibration. In this moment now, the ship that looked hard, whether it was a storm, let's call it a storm. There was a storm within which the ship looked hard. In this moment now, inevitably, because you have turned soft, the storm around you will begin to die down. It is the divine nature of this universe. The storm came to reveal to you your judgment of that ship, subhanallah, so that you may become the seeker, so that you may come back with a softer gaze, so that it may soften again for you to flow on through, because the storm has nothing against you. The storm is always for you. Inna ma'al usri yusra. But this time, how does yusra manifest itself? Because Allah's promise is one hardship, manifold ease, right? Inna ma'al usri yusra, inna ma'al usri, phir se yusra, on the same hardship. Ab kya hoga ke ab, as the storm recedes, and the sun comes out, you begin to see new shores. That, as Allah is my witness, you could not have seen before the seeking moment, before this moment. You would not have seen those shores before. And not only do you begin to see new shores, you begin to feel this new excitement towards those shores. And then the wind picks up to take you there. What? It was a silent, quiet sea. Where did the wind come from? A favorable wind that's gently pushing me, taking me towards that shore. What on earth? Is this what magic looks like? No, this is what alchemy looks like. This is what alchemy looks like, subhanallah, where all you have done is turn your gaze inward and then let the universe come up to show you your new pathways, pathways of beautiful ease, pathways where you feel fully supported, pathways where you don't have to consciously manifest. You don't have to do it. You don't have to find out where you need to go. You will be taken there, and not only will you be taken there, there'll be a sense of anticipation and lightness like a butterfly's wing in your heart. Like you've just inhaled and you've forgotten to exhale. It's that excitement that takes you there. This is what alchemy looks like. When we have released a judgment on our own life, on what is good and what is bad in my life right now. And it starts always with, the process of alchemy always starts with, as is true for hero's journey. Now we were just at the Ghar Hira part. As the hero, as the soul, as the alchemist, now having alchemized, lands on the shore, people seeking alchemy will be drawn to them. And there starts the next, from that point starts the next part of the journey. How does an alchemist light the fire that helps the other potential alchemist find their own power? And this is not an optional part of the journey, by the way. It is called being in service. Because whatever your soul has learned needs to spark a similar learning in another soul. Why? Because your soul is never separate from the soul. Because every time you spark into awareness, the collective sparks into awareness. Because your own flame for your own self in that moment might feel this small, but it is a blazing fire, sacred, beautiful fire that sparked off new beginnings for the collective. And so you must ground it. We must ground it by showing up in service, by being committed to lighting fires for other people where they can remember their own power, where they can remember their own potential of alchemy. And never be attached. And that's when the journey of the multidimensional soul continues. Because from this point, they've written the moment they light one fire, again, the full circle moment, they light one fire saying, okay, wow, I have arrived. I am the alchemist. I will light fires for other potential alchemists to also find the fire. Aren't I so cool? Am I not the leader? Am I not the firelighter? As a fire burns, as a potential alchemist sees their own reflection, their own shadow within that fire, so will you. Another reflection and the entire another moment opportunity of alchemy all over again. You never, and that's another, see, it's all a beautiful connected universe. You think you're lighting a fire from somebody else. You're always ever doing it for your own self, for your own shadow to come out even more strongly. And what it does for an alchemist, it always keeps them to be a seeker. It never brings up the illusion for a true alchemist. It never brings up the illusion that you're a teacher. Never brings up the illusion, because the moment you become a teacher, you've lost your power of alchemy. You don't teach alchemy, you do alchemy. And that's how other fires get lit. There's no place of this dunya is not a place for rest. This dunya is not a place where you stop lighting fires for yourself to see your own shadows. This is not a dunya. This is not a place where we can stop seeking, where we can stop walking, where we can say, okay, this is where I will rest. And also, this is not a place where we can be very sure that we have arrived, because we've never arrived, because there's nowhere to arrive. And because the deeper you go within yourself, the more shadows of illusion you will find within yourself. And for me, it was a beautiful reminder this morning, and my hands were shaking till about 5 minutes before the session. I was feeling really good yesterday about my last session where I said, look, I'm owning my shadows. I'm owning my spiritual ego. And this day, just this morning, दांत brush mein कर रही थी, मेरा हाथ ऐसे से कांपना शुरू हो गया. It's like, wow. Because within this, the fact that I'm speaking of my spiritual ego means that I am, and I'm saying, oh, now I have an ego. Oh, wow, now I have something to fight against. That means कि मैंने अपने आप को already एक pedestal पे बिठा लिया है. And I really like talking about that pedestal also. And I'm like, Allah Ta'ala ji, what are the depths of my nafs? Subhan Allah. I feel really like there's an ego behind me acknowledging that I have an ego. So it is. So it is. And with it, remember, it's not but. I don't have to fight wars with this ego right now. It is what it is. Alchemy. It is what it is. And with it, may Allah Ta'ala keep my eye in every moment, especially when I choose to put on those blindfold myself, because I want to feel, I want to feed my nafs. May Allah Ta'ala help me take off my blindfold. So both are relevant, both are together. And also because it is due to the fact that I have this blindfold on, because remember Allah Ta'ala says, there are those who come for whom taqwa, being connected to Allah, comes easy. It's natural for them. It's a beautiful hadith, right? Where this Sahabi of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Sahabi used to love reciting Surah Baqarah in Isha. Because it just came easy for him. He was just in love with Quran, right? And there's one of the people जो नमाजी थे वो मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास गए, भाई उनको समझाएं, ये सूरह बकरा रिसाइट करते हैं यार इशा के अंदर, क्या हो गया इन्हें. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him and he said, dude, I know that you're in love. I know it may be easy for you, but there's one who's struggling. And it may be that you're making it difficult for him. So what we learn from here is for some, this taqwa comes easy. For others, it comes hard. And Allah Ta'ala says, the one who reads Quran with beautiful, like the lafaz and this beautiful, they remember, it's dearer to me, they're beloved to me, they're beloved to me. And Allah Ta'ala says, more beloved are those who stutter and stumble and who make mistakes and go back and correct them. So it's our struggle. It's our struggle. It is our struggle, not our arrival. It is our struggle that is rewarded. It is our struggle that is beloved to Allah. It is Allah saying to Allah Ta'ala, हाँ मेरे कोई 1500 million depths of my ego हैं, and there is no way I can know all of them. There's no way I can be aware of all of them. Help me. Help me. Keep your charaq lit for me. Help me. And in every moment, help me. That's it. That's all we can do. So, yeah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.